My name is Leilani Thatcher, a tour guide at the Library of Lost Things. This is The Doorstep Project, episode 29, Turn the Tide. This week we have... Gavin? Where's my script? No, I don't check before I get here. I think the only time I've read a script before recording was... I'm sorry, your job is so hard. Why don't we switch places? Just send me the script. Thank you. Okay. This week we have a story from Ireland, 1920. The Irish and British have had a rocky relationship almost from the very beginning of the British Empire. Ireland fought for its independence for years, leading all the way up to the Irish War of Independence from 1919 to 1921. The majority of the war was fought between the Irish Republican Army, or the IRA, and the British Army, along with the Royal Irish Constabulary. Our story doesn't start at the beginning, though. In media res, as the Greeks say. You see, the IRA and the British were locked in guerrilla warfare. The Irish soldiers were brutal with their attacks, and the British forces met them with equal brutality, attacking both soldiers and civilians equally. They say there's always a tipping point. That could mean almost anything, at any point. The tipping point for starting the war, or the moment the victor is decided, the tipping point for finishing the war. In Dublin, November 15th, 1920, an Irish soldier found a code. He hadn't meant to, actually. He was at a friend's house and had asked for some paper to roll a cigar. The friend handed him a few old sheets of paper, and on one of them was penned a few lines of numbers. The soldier didn't think much of it at the time, still rolling a cigar from another sheet, but after a moment, he began to recognize it. The Irish soldier took the paper, not mentioning it to his friend, and returned home. Codes have been used by every civilization to keep secret things secret, and the British were no exception to this rule. The code used in this specific cipher is not mentioned, and the original message was destroyed centuries ago. Here's what we know. The code listed a handful of addresses all around Dublin, one of which was the home of the Irish soldier's friend. A handful of these men were under suspicion by the IRA. Some of them weren't. The soldier was commended for bringing the information to the army, and a plan was set in place. 6 days later, IRA operatives were sent to a number of houses where they killed or fatally wounded 15 men. Most of the men were British Army officers, and one was a Royal Irish Constabulary. Unfortunately, at least 2 of those killed were citizens, and some of the men were never identified as enemies from England. In Ireland, November 21st is called Bloody Sunday, and not entirely because of the assassinations of the British agents. Later that afternoon, British soldiers were sent to Croke Park to search for weapons and insurgents during a Gaelic football game. Some say that the soldiers were fired at in the crowd. Some say that the soldiers began shooting unprovoked. Either way, the massacre was indiscriminate and brutal. 14 citizens died, 3 of which were children. 60 others were wounded. This was the tipping point. This was the moment that the Irish citizens lost hope in the British authorities. This was the day that peace became necessary. This is what turned the tide. The war didn't end until a year later, with the official ceasefire on July 11th, 1921. You see, sometimes the turn of the tide isn't D-Day on the beaches of Normandy. It isn't dumping tea into a harbor to show the world that you're ready to fight. It isn't a cheer from the crowd when they know their team is going to win. The tipping point, the final straw for the Irish, it wasn't a victory. It was a tragedy. The point is, any moment could be the turning point of your life. Most people say that the moment they hit rock bottom was the same moment they realized they never wanted to be at rock bottom ever again. The Irish fought back with a battle cry and a memorial day. Your fight will be different. Perhaps you do wield a sword and a shield. Perhaps your strongest weapon is your battle cry. your words. Or maybe it's your silence. Thank you for listening to The Doorstep Project. This audio drama was created and produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave a rating and review on your podcast app of choice or share it with a friend. Leilani and the project will be back next week. Until then, write every day. One day your story could be in a museum. The Doorstep Project is produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. It was written, edited, and performed by AJ Barton. Sound effects for this podcast are provided by Zapsplat. Music used in this podcast includes Reawakening by Kevin McLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. You can learn more at his website, incompetech.com, or at creativecommons.org. Both music and sound effects have been changed and edited by AJ Barton. Links for websites, information, and contact can be found in the description of the episode. Would you like to submit your story or art to the Doorstep Project? You can find information for story submission at familyfriendlypodcast.com/The Doorstep Project. Information on CC by 4.0 licenses can be found at creativecommons.org.